This podcast represents the opinions of the hosts of the Laugh Cry Club and guests on the show. The content here should not be taken as medical advice and is for informational purposes only. And because each person is so unique, please consult your healthcare professional for any medical questions. While we make every effort to ensure that the information we share is accurate, we welcome any comments, suggestions, or correction of errors. Welcome back, everybody, to the Laugh Cry Club. I am Joy.
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Chelsea, and if you're an imperfect human who laughs and cries, then this podcast is for you and other humans in your life.
Yay! And Rebecca's here.
Yeah, she is. Oh my God. I feel so much better.
Good. That's what I'm here for.
You're the anchor. Well, we are
that's really
three.
Nice.
You
That's
are.
so
We were like
nice.
floating.
We were floating. I felt especially floaty. It took me a minute to get like.
Chelsea was discombobulated. She was like, I don't know. It's almost, you're like missing a leg. You're like, how do we do that?
Yeah, like a pirate.
Yeah, and I prefer you, okay? I prefer you all to be here.
Yes,
I like that.
yes,
yeah.
We appreciate that. We are a unit. We are 3 licensed therapists, and if you're new to the podcast, we've been doing this for over a year. We have over 20 years of experience in the mental health field each, so we've got quite a bit of knowledge to share with you. Every week we start with a laugh and cry, and then we pick a topic of the week. So this week we're going to talk about masks, the masks that we wear, kind of like how we show up in different areas of our life. And we thought it would be fun because it's a little bit of like spooky season themed because, you know, we're almost through October. So why not pick a theme and go with it? So Chelsea, who is going first for the laugh and the cry?
Well, since we missed Rebecca so much, and I don't want my leg to be missing anymore, I want all my limbs here. Let's start with the tether, the anchor, our love, our friend, maybe your therapist. We don't know. Rebecca.
I could be, you know. I could
She
be
could be.
anybody's. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. But we'll never tell because it's confidential.
It's
guys.
confidential.
Yeah, HIPAA.
Totally. Yep. You gotta love it. Goodness. Okay, so my cry. You know, this wasn't like a deep sobbing cry. I think I shared with you all that. I think I shared this that I killed Carl a few episodes back, and then
Carl was
Carl's a caterpillar.
that Rebecca tried to rescue because monarch caterpillars are in danger.
Yes. Thank you for that clarification. But then I'd found like 2 other monarch caterpillars that were like 2 or 3 inches big. Anyway, they disappeared. I don't know what's going on, but I'm on a walk, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, there's a butterfly on the ground with like a broken wing, and guess what? It's a monarch butterfly.
They're surrounding you.
My cry was like, well, what am I going to do about and it's like, well, do I just leave it here? I mean, it's got a freaking broken wing. It's not like it's growing it back. And they live I think they live like 6 weeks tops. And I'm like, what do I do? So I decided to come home and get my little thing to put it in. So it's like a screen thing or whatever. It's like
You
actually
have like a home built already because you've
I
been
got
through
it
this
ready.
before.
So I put it in there, research, like you make the sugar water. So I boiled this water for it, and then I had to
I
put it
would
in the
love to
freezer.
see
'cause
your
it's-
Google search history, Rebecca.
It would probably be really
Are
fun.
you using ChatGPT to
No,
get like?
I use
Oh.
Google. I was doing old school Google search. So yeah, so I figured all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm just, it's just the whole thing going back and forth. Like, what's the best thing? I mean, obviously you can do wing grafts. They highly suggest you don't do it on your own. And I'm like, no freaking rehab around here is going to do a wing graft. I mean, it's got 6 weeks, right? And I don't
What's
even
a
know how
wing
old
graft?
it is.
What is a
Yeah,
wing
they'll like
graft?
take a butterfly wing from a dead butterfly and graft it on so it can fly away.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's serious. They really suggest you don't do it at home, which I was not going to. So yeah, my cry is just like, I don't know, like there's all this death with these butterflies, and it's just really kind of getting to me. But I feel like there's a message in here too somewhere that I need to figure out.
Well, Carl was hard on you. That was a sad day for you.
Carl was like a baby caterpillar, which I realize now he wasn't super big yet, because these others are like 2 to 3 inches, and this guy was like half an inch. That's my cry. Like, I don't know. Mother Nature is just sticking it to me.
And Mother Nature is just like, it will make you cry. It's beautiful and horrible.
It will. So trying to do my part, saving the butterflies, but we'll see. My laugh has to do with, I don't know, Robin and I were together and we were talking about we're talking about body types. Like everybody has a different body type, meaning like I'm talking about like stature. Like some people are made very petite and some are made more boxy like and people will refer to certain people as big bone, which is not true. Like people have the same size bones really. But it's just
Wait, really?
Yes.
I feel like I have little bones.
Well, guess what? I hate to break it to you, don't.
What? Look at my little
That's
wrist.
not, I don't know. I'd have to see your wrist. But yeah, it's not really a thing, right? Because our bones are all relatively about the same size.
I don't know if I agree. But
Okay, Google it.
I'm gonna Google it.
Do it.
Yeah, you are.
But that's not really a thing, like when people are like referring to their body. So we're just talking about body shapes. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like, I feel like my body shape has very much to do with like my ancestry. And I'm like, what is that called? Like, I'm Czech. So I'm thinking like, Poland or Austria and Germany, these type of individuals. And I'm like, what's the word for it? What am I looking for? And Robin's like, farmhand. And I'm like, later it came to me, I was looking for Eastern European.
Not farmhand.
No, apparently I have a farmhand body type.
Yeah, you are. Oh my God, that's so funny.
Which was so funny because I'm like, I wasn't offended at all. I was like, no, that makes sense because my ancestry, they were all farmers. They had farms. And so that would make sense that they were maybe a more stoutly built individual because they were doing heavy work out on the farm. And so anyway, it was just cracking me up because I was looking for Eastern European, but now it's been all week long. I'm like, oh, that's because I have a farmhand body type.
That is so funny.
It's so funny. And I was just thinking, I was like, this really makes sense if you look at your ancestry and maybe the type of work your ancestors did. It's
Right.
a genetic thing that has followed you as your family tree has continued to grow. Like,
Right.
you may want I may want like a super really thin build, but I'm never probably going to have that because that's just not my lineage of my family.
Rebecca, I like that you're calling this out because I talk about this a lot in therapy with clients, right? When people are like, I don't like my shape, I don't like this. It's like, that is... Okay, so I see it different, right? I look at like the lineage, the heritage, the ancestor, like all of this got past. I mean, isn't that amazing?
It's
And then
amazing.
It's amazing. And then we think about the capabilities of what our bodies do, which is amazing, and how some of us are more gifted and talented because of that history with the family, and how society bodies change all the time, the trend of what's in and what's out, and how it's just like complete bullshit because what's in is actually like just yourself.
Right.
That's it, guys. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to run that time, like to go all the way back. And sometimes that is something I do in therapy. Like, what would be the benefit of having a bigger frame? What would be like, how did that serve? Because I'm telling you, like that, or somebody with pale skin, that used to be a sign of like, oh, you didn't have to work. You had privilege. You had wealth. I mean, all of these interesting things and how they change. And I think when we do that, it breaks down that like immediate bias that we have of like, I need to fit into this cookie cutter box and
Right.
be this way. So
Right.
anyways,
Yeah.
I could go on, and thank you for that,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah. So, it was something hilarious, but then really had me thinking. So don't
Can
know,
I
who wants to
can
go?
I drop you some
Yeah.
bone knowledge because I chat
Oh,
GPT'd it while
Yeah,
you were
you
talking.
will.
too.
Oh God.
Okay.
I hope I'm right.
Okay. The general layout of our skeletons is identical. Everyone has a femur, a skull, a spine with roughly the same number of vertebrae, but the sizes and proportions of those bones vary as much as faces do. Height, genetics, hormones, nutrition, and activity all sculpt bone structure. Here's the gist. Long bones like femurs, tibias, and humeri determine height. So, of course, our height's different, right? That's obvious. Bone width and density are heavily influenced by activity and hormones. So, a powerlifter's femur will be thicker and denser. So, it is bigger boned than someone who sits at a desk all day. So
Is it though bigger?
Femur will be thicker and denser than someone who sits. So, from my understanding, not a doctor here, not a medical doctor, is that when you build strength, your bone density is going to be thicker or denser.
Cool. I must have great bone density.
Same. I think I do too.
I think you do.
Sex differences matter too. Male pelvises are typically narrower and taller. Female pelvises are wider to allow childbirth. Duh. Skulls, rib cages, and limb proportions differ slightly as well. Even within one person, bones aren't perfectly symmetrical. Your dominant arm's bones are usually a bit thicker and longer. So your dominant arm might have a thicker, which is weird because like when you're lifting weights, I notice with my left arm is like a little bit weaker. Anyway, so that's a really quick and dirty Chat GPT. I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but that's just from Chat GPT. So, but to your point too, Rebecca, and what you said, Chelsea, I just have to add that as someone who has worked out my entire life pretty much, and when I was really young, like in my teens and early 20s, before I really realized that you really can't like change your body type, I was fighting against it so much. Like how does someone have like a 6-pack abs? I'm like, my genetics don't allow that. Or my genetics don't allow for small shoulders. I have very broad shoulders. So as someone who really struggled with that, I love the call out for anyone who's really struggling with that piece. Like it really is an acceptance of your structure and your shape, and that a Jennifer Lopez is always going to have like rock hard abs because that's her genetics, and also she works out a lot. But again, like that is just something that I think is really important to call out.
Well, she also has a smaller frame. I have broad shoulders too, and so I feel like she probably has more narrow shoulders.
Mm-hmm. But there was just this myth that I felt when I was younger that I could achieve a body type, and I was like, oh, you can't. You absolutely cannot. Fun fact.
No. Thank your ancestors, everybody.
Thank your ancestors.
Yeah. I'm going to pass it over to you, Joy, since you were just giving us the quick and dirty from ChatGPT.
Jabbing away. Okay. So this week, my laugh is related to Rebecca and our group chat again. My laugh was that yesterday, Rebecca sent me a Taylor Swift humming song. And if you haven't listened to the previous episodes where I said this was my laugh, like Rebecca, whenever she hears a certain Taylor Swift song and it like pops in her head, she'll send me the humming version, and it's not singing, no words. So I have to just get it from the hum. And she'll be like, here's your game, and go. So I have to guess the song. So far, I have gotten every single one right. Well, yesterday she sent one that I was like, what the F is this song?
Well, and I did say, if you get this, I'll be shocked because this was not my best performance.
Yeah.
Because it actually is a very difficult song to hum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I immediately was like, I listened to it about 5 times in a row and I couldn't get it. And I said, well, what album is it from? And she said 1989. And I'm like, okay. So, and then you sent me another one to kind of give me another try. And then I got it. It was Out of the Woods. And but you kind of gave me a hint because you're like, it's kind of repetitive, so it's hard to hum. And I was like, oh, Out of the Woods is very repetitive. And then I got the tune. So that was my laugh. But also, so I have this friend who's looking for a job, and we were talking about this in a group chat. So this friend has been like, struggling to find a job. Like the job market's just like really weird right now. Like my cousin tells me about this too, because she's job searching. And so she made this comment where she's like, I pretty much have to be like Jesus Christ to get a job at this point, because like, it just feels like you have to have so much, like you have to be like holier than thou to just like get your foot in the door. And Rebecca took it upon herself to go to ChatGPT to create a resume for Jesus Christ and posted it in our group chat. And I was laughing so fucking hard because it said something about like oh my God.
Every session is like a resurrection.
It's like a resurrection.
And I did it for if Jesus Christ was trying to be a therapist. So it's the whole therapy.
Yes. Really tailored with that therapy
my God.
part. And I was like, Jesus, could you be my therapist?
It was so funny. It says, okay. Oh, no. Professional experience, private practice, The Way Counseling Services provided free unconditional care to thousands. No insurance required. Utilize storytelling, parables to facilitate deep cognitive insight and behavior change. Specialize in shame reduction. So great. Oh my gosh. It was so good. Philosophy of care. I meet with every client where they are, in shame, sorrow, or silence, and walk with them toward renewal. My practice is rooted in unconditional positive regard, radical acceptance, and love that casts out fear. Each session is a resurrection in progress. I mean, so good. That was hands down one of my biggest laughs this week. So thank you, Rebecca. That was great. So my cry, I was debating, this was last week. My cry was debating, I was debating on sharing it or not, because I was like, this was really hard news. And at first I was like, I'm not telling anybody because I'm like, really struggling with it. But I'm like, oh, okay, I've processed it and I think it's fine to share. But, I raised service dogs, and the first dog that we raised moved on to graduate. And so we recently found out that she has retired early. When I got the news, I just bawled my eyes out because I was like, she's only 5, and normally they work like their entire like adult life, but she retired early for just reasons where she was like not showing joy and love for the work that she was doing anymore, kind of having more like of a negative response whenever she was asked to do some tasks. And I just bawled like when I got that news. I was so sad, and I don't know why yes, I do know why I was sad. I was sad because I think about the whole like circle of everything we went through, and then just like feeling emotional about it. I wasn't sad because she retired. I wasn't sad, it was just more of like your expectations were just so different, and the news was kind of shocking. And then I just felt so compassionate and caring for the person who is her person, who owns her, because I'm like, that's just has to be an emotional journey that they went through together to like try to make it work. Luckily, they still get to stay together, and Cadet will be the pet at her house that will continue to alert her to sounds because she's a hearing dog. She just wasn't exhibiting comfort outside in public. She was kind of having some more of like, and I'm so grateful that the owner recognized that. But as a puppy raiser, you just go through so much with these dogs, emotionally invested. And I was going through so many emotions thinking like, I'm not disappointed, because that's not the feeling, because you can't control these animals. And it has nothing to do with the owner. It was just like the whole journey, I think, is more like how it felt sad. It just felt sad. It was really funny because Scott was right there when we both kind of got the news too. And he goes, well, this is great for her. And I was like, here I am bawling my eyes out. And he was like, this is great. This is great. She's going to be happier. She's just going to live her life as a pet. She'll still be able to alert and do the job that she wants to do at home. And it was just like such a beautiful kind of like yin and yang of our responses, where he immediately recognized how wonderful this was, where I was just like processing not a loss, because I don't want it to sound like I have like a disappointment, especially if anyone like related to this organization hears this, because I'm like, it was just a lot to like hear and shocking. So that was my cry. I'm very happy and proud no matter what happens with these dogs. And it's a good reminder that dogs are animals and they are always they're unpredictable. Things can change on a dime, but we do the best that we can to set them up for success. So yeah, that was my emotional journey for the week.
Joy, what did you feel? Was it like, is it hard to not be like, did I do something wrong? Like, does that kind of come up?
Oh yeah, that certainly comes up. And I think if I'm being totally honest with myself, I do go back to like, oh, okay, we raised her in COVID and we didn't have as many opportunities to go out in public with her. And, like all of these things that she made it through the initial team training, the advanced training that's when she's 2 years old. But again, like, you just never know as dogs age what comes up. Like my dog JT, who's now 14, at age 7 or 8 developed extreme fear of thunder. Never exhibited that before, never had issues with it before. So you just can't you can't predict these things, but it is a part of a responsibility, because I take this job very seriously, of like doing the best that we can with these dogs, feeling like, oh, did we do something wrong? And then feeling like we were so excited when she graduated, and like you send them off to college or you send them on their way for the rest of their life. And then it almost felt like, oh, is she okay? Like she didn't like her job or something like that, when in fact, now that I look at it, it's a different route. It's all successful. And that's kind of how we in the puppy raiser community talk about it, is like every dog chooses their path, is kind of how we frame it, is like you're not a success or a failure as a dog if you choose to be a service dog or you choose to be a pet. It's more of just like, that's just the thing that you can't control because they're animals. And so there were just a lot of those emotions that I think like it immediately brought me back to puppy raising her, and when she was a little baby, and like all the work that we did with her, that certainly bubbled up when I got that news.
I think this is a really good reminder of how our brain wants to have control.
Sure.
by taking control of things that we have no control over.
Totally.
I think about that. That's the reason why I asked, because I think about that with parenting. As a parent, when your kid screws up, the first thing most parents are like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? Like, we want to take so much ownership. And when clients would come in, I would be like, they're a human, okay?
Yeah.
Like, especially as an
their
adult,
own
that
little
adult
being.
is their own person. They're making their own choices. They're living their own life. And then we think about an animal and how funny it is to think that we actually have any control over what an animal
It's
does.
so true.
Yeah,
It's
but our
so true.
brain really wants to do that. And I find it interesting that you were like, I think this was the thing you said you didn't know if you were going to share, because we do feel that kind of shame or that responsibility or whatever. But as soon as we share, it sets us free.
Yeah.
Because the truth is so gray.
Yeah.
It's just not as black and white as our brains want to make it. So I'm glad that you share that. And if you are a pet owner or a parent, you know, what we do can only go so far. Okay? That's it. Good or bad. We see people with horrible upbringings who do amazing things. We see people with great upbringings who do fucked up things. We see dogs that we don't even know what their trauma is, but then they bit somebody because they're a dog. Like, it happens.
It just happens.
Yeah. And how nice that they recognize that the dog's not this isn't benefiting the dog. I really like that, actually.
Yeah,
I think that's
I do
amazing
too.
because I see that with kids, like in sports where parents keep pushing and it's like, maybe your kid's not getting joy anymore. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep pushing just because they did it for 5 years, whatever? So yeah, I could go on with that too. But
no, thank you
Joy.
for saying that. And thank you. I mean, again, I also just wanted to be sensitive to, like, there's so many people involved in this, you know, situation that I'm like, I don't want it to come across as like negative. It just was more of, and it's not about me. You know what I mean? It is, but it's not. You know, there's so much of this that we have to kind of detach from. Like when people ask me when I'm puppy raising out in the community and they're like, oh, is it so hard to give them up? And I'm like, yeah, it's really hard. But at the end of the day, it's not about me. Like these dogs go on to do what they need to do and choose the path that they need to choose. And if I continue to make it about me, like it's, I don't know, it just feels kind of weird and icky. But my point of like mainly sharing that was just kind of like, it took me a while. It took me a few days to like really get centered with like what exactly I was feeling. Cause I really couldn't pinpoint what it was. Cause I'm like, I'm not disappointed. I'm not sad. I'm not like, oh, I'm sad. But it was just like, why am I sad? Because to Scott's point, he was like, this is great for her. Like she chose her path. And I'm like, yeah, she did choose her path. So anyway, thank you for walking me through that. Okay, Chelsea, you're up. Beautiful friend.
Oh my God. I have so many laughs and so many cries. So I'm going to put it together because we do have a hard stop today. And I do have lots of laughs and cries that happen together. Welcome to the Laugh Cry
I
Club.
love when that happens.
Yeah. Well, this person didn't love it so much. And this is a familiar one because I've shared this kind of incident before on this show. Okay, one of my best girlfriends in the whole entire world, who my soul is connected with, we went to Nashville just on like a quick getaway trip. And when we get together, it gets wild. Energetically, it's like, okay, well, it's very similar to the energy you experienced when all of us got together in Gulf Shores. It's like on steroids, laughing, cracking up, crying, like all over the place. So we go to Post Malone's bar called Posties. I'm sitting down at the stool. My girlfriend goes to go to the restroom. There's this man who comes over. He had been talking to her. He starts talking to me. And, you know, we're therapists. We see through all of it. It's like, I'm like, oh, so you're running from something. Okay, like I'm having like that dig deep. Like I don't want to, but it's happening. Okay, because I don't do the superficial chit chat. I'm like, oh, I see what's happening. And then he starts like talk, yammering away. And then he says to me, so do you come to Nashville often? And I said, no, I don't. This is my first time I've ever been here. He's like, so, you know, your wife? And yeah, that was the wrong question to ask me because you don't know. So then I did the same thing of, no, my husband died recently. I'm a widow. It was really beautiful and horrible. And then I start bawling. So I've said this before, like my husband died and then maybe I don't cry or I do cry, but this I start bawling at the bar and he is so fucking uncomfortable and he looks at me and he's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't want to make you cry. I was like, and I didn't want to cry, but it would be unhealthy for me to stop crying right now to make you feel comfortable. So I'm just going to cry.
Oh, that's so good.
So I just fucking cried, okay? I did my
Yes.
90-second cry. And then my girlfriend came and I was okay.
She came back and was like, what the hell did you do to Chelsea?
Yeah, what happened in like 2
You're
minutes?
outta here, guy.
Yeah.
I was like, I just like vomited and cried all over this person. And she, so we were like laughing. And then we go up, and this is how quick the laugh cries happen, right? So then we're cracking up, and then we go upstairs to okay. Posties connects also with some other country singers bar. So they like, it's kind of like a maze. So we end up in, I can't remember his name, another country music person's bar because of how the setup is. And we're dancing and we're singing and we're like listening to the music and it's so fun and we're laughing. And then we walk out and we're like, we weren't in Posties. We're not in Post Malone's bar. Like, where the fuck are we? And we'd been drinking a lot. So it's
We're
like,
not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
Are we idiots? Like, are we lost? Like, so then we circle around to try and figure out how we get back in, and we go back to the same bar where I cried all over this person, not all over them, where I just refused to abandon myself and cried. And we're going through it with the bartender, like, we don't understand. How does this work? And we keep getting in this maze of this lost.
You're like in
So
the
there's
Matrix.
Yeah, so there's 2 stairs that go up. So I'm like, okay, you're going to go up one flight of stairs and I'm going to go up one flight of stairs and we're going to see if we meet each other, okay? Like, we're going to see if we end up. So we did that. We got lost and we found each other. Like, it was just this most funny night of laughter. I think it's just like the magic of fluid feelings of like, had I not just allowed myself to cry, I may not have been able to be like, let's pick stairs and get lost and see
Yeah.
what happens and have
Right.
these funny rando experiences and conversations and dancing. And so I guess it was just that really good reminder for me that if we want to have the high highs, we've got to feel the lows. And it sucks. And that's my laugh and my cry that I had in Nashville. Lucky human. Where was he from? I think he had a shirt that said Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh. There you go.
Did you just like get up and leave after your cry, or like how did that end?
My girlfriend came.
Oh, she came in and rescued you.
She came, and then I think I had been done crying by then because she got lost, so she was gone for like a minute, and I was like, "What happened to her?" And we were wild, and it's a weird Nashville, like that downtown area is a very. I mean, it's a strange place.
Yeah, I've never been. I'll have to go
It's a
sometime.
in my opinion, it's a small dose.
Take it in small
doses
doses, kind of
place.
like Vegas. Yeah.
It's like Vegas
Yeah.
people in this strip, but it's all country music and it's really fun. And we're old. So when we party, it's at like 1:00.
Yeah.
We were in bed by 8.
Which is the best.
So our energy was really intense for the daytime crowd in Nashville.
I love that.
I love it.
Coming in
I love
hot.
it.
Gen X all the way.
Coming in hot. Yeah. So this is a great kind of segue to the mask that we wear. Right. So we wear these masks. I could have faked it with this person. I don't even think I could have faked it. I think I've done too much self-work to even fake that I'm okay when I'm not okay. But we wear mask of I'm fine or it's okay or no big deal as a way to protect ourselves from vulnerability, because vulnerability and our old ancient brain, that used to mean like you might die, you might get attacked, like something physically might harm you. And so that same vulnerability is the aversion that we might be having now. And then we wear these masks to try and protect ourselves from that feeling. So we have to learn how to take those off. So I'm going to throw it back into the group. What do y'all think about?
Well, I was thinking about my own masks, and I think there's general ones, like I mentioned at the top of the episode, around your friend self, your home self with your partner, your work persona. We're different people I mean, we're the same person, but you have maybe a more humorous persona when you're at home and carefree. You have a more chill persona when you're with your really close friends, or maybe it's that professional mask. Because like I think about this all the time. I think workspaces are, like, side note, the weirdest thing, because you work together almost like in a family dynamic, but you have to be professional. So you can't, that's why
Do you have to be professional?
I mean,
what is professional?
Meaning, like, I wouldn't be like, you stupid. I mean, I wouldn't call anyone stupid actually in my entire life, but you know what I mean? Like, like I wouldn't gripe on a coworker like I would my husband. Like sometimes, like, why did you leave the trash out, or whatever it is,
Yeah, I get, yeah.
So like, I wouldn't do that at work. Like, why did you write this email this way? Like, I wouldn't say that to their face. So that is just something that I think is so interesting, because when workplace dynamics emerge and people aren't able to, I don't know, just work around it in a way that's self-reflective and being curious, it comes out as like talking behind people's backs and being like, oh, this person's so annoying, instead of like really realizing that it's kind of an impossible scenario, to be honest with you. I think workspaces are so weird. Like, you have to be so aware that you're working with someone who has a completely different personality than you, and you got to make it work kind of like a family, but you can't be your comfortable, mask off person like you would with your family. So anyway, I think it's real and it's okay. And like Chelsea, you said, with vulnerability, where I feel so comfortable with my husband and my family that I don't have to, that feeling when you're around people that you're like, oh, I don't have to like put on airs, or I don't have to be censored, or, whatever it is.
Joy, I think I really like that. And thanks for sharing what your masks are, because I'd be curious too, like, Chelsea, or even our listeners, like, what our masks are, and like getting more specific than saying like work persona or home persona or best friend persona. It's like, I started thinking about, what mask do I wear often? And the first thing that pops in my head is I wear a mask of being the class clown. I do it all the time. I started thinking, like, why am I always going to humor? And it's likely because I'm masking some other things in my life. And then another mask I always go to is like a problem solver. And I think that shows up, these show up actually a lot. They'll show up at work. They'll show up wherever I'm at, actually. So it's like, these are the masks that I wear almost everywhere. And then I started thinking about, when do I take these masks off? Like, the problem solver basically is like confident, like, I got this, I can figure it out. And like the class clown is like, everything is funny, it's a party, let me make a joke here to lighten the mood. And it's like, I started thinking, like, when do I take these off? And I take them off when I am with trusted people. And I think you learn to trust people. And it takes time to get to that point. And likely I trust them because these people have also shared vulnerability with me personally. And I've realized, oh, this is a safe place to share. Like, for instance, I have known both of you for a very long time now. I was thinking, Chelsea, gosh, I've known you probably 5 years now. And when we first met, it was at work. And I just thinking, like, even then, it's like, we were probably masking in a way, but I don't feel like it was so masked, like we didn't know who that person was. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, this is what I believe. And I just say this all the time. You can feel when somebody's being authentic and when they're not, even if they're not saying the thing. And Rebecca, what you're talking about is like probably in meetings when we glanced over at each other and your eyes are talking and saying the thing that your mouth can't say because you would get in trouble. Okay, that would risk your safety.
Yeah.
And so I think there's ways with the mask. I mean, we have to think masks are protective. And there's some people who you're going to meet and you're not going to feel any need to put on any sort of mask. These originate in childhood, right? Like where we learned social acceptance, where we learned people pleasing makes your parents happy and makes you feel safe. Where we learn that good girls are nice. Where we learn that women, if you speak up at work, you're a bitch and you're not going to get promoted and people aren't going to like you, right? And so what happens when you're being inauthentic and you're wearing the mask, this is how you know, okay? This is a tip and trick. How you know is your brain starts to release a stress hormone, okay? You start feeling stressed out. And how do you know when you're stressed? Shortness of breath, your muscle tension. You might feel exhausted. When I've been wearing a mask, and my mask is really the one that I have to be really active with, is that I'm a good listener and I'll let people go on and on and on and on and on. And in my head, I'm saying this: I don't give a fuck about what you're saying. I don't care about what you're saying right now. So when you're wearing okay, I'm going to skip this part. When you're wearing a mask, your body will tell you that you're wearing a mask because you're going to feel drained, exhausted. Your body's going to feel stressed out. When we're being sort of fake, it is stressful for our body. It is stressful for us. And so I have it where I fall into people pleasing, and I'm listening and listening and listening to your dumb fucking story that I don't give a shit about because I'm being polite. And afterwards, I want to take a nap. Sometimes I have found myself wanting to fall asleep while another person is talking. Oh my God, this sounds so mean. And now I'm judging myself, and that's why I wear my mask. Because God forbid I'd make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'd rather drain myself.
Right.
To exhaustion.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Chelsea?
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. It's like when I learned to, and I mentioned this to you guys, I think when we were on our trip, where I used to like push past my full point. Like when I have a very limited social battery, and I fall more on kind of like an introverted side in most scenarios with like a lot of people. And so I hit a switch where I am done skis. And I, for the longest time, just bashed myself for it and would like try to push through and be like, why am I like this? Why am I not like, you know, the party person that could just stay out all night or whatever and like take all the social things? And I just bashed myself for that when I realized, oh, this is who I am. And I have to just be like, remember when we were at dinner, Chelsea, where I looked at you and I was like, I need to go home. I don't know if you remember the last night. I was like, I'm done. Can we go now? And then Chelsea looks at the table and goes, Joy needs to go home. And I was like so embarrassed at first, but I was like, this is just what I need.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I did it in Nashville. It was 8 p.m. and I was like, I'm done. Yeah. And my girlfriend's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm absolutely done. I need to leave now.
But I felt like in that moment when you announced to the table that like Joy needs to leave, I was like, fuck, I'm going to be that person. But I was like, you know what? This is what I need. This is what I need. And like, it, you know, because like especially when you're in a group, you're like, I don't want to be like that one person that's like, anyway, but it is like that mask piece where you feel like just accepting the things that you need. And I will say the thing that when you were talking about masking at the very beginning, like just this topic in general, you know what I think about is Instagram, social media, where all the accounts people are putting on their like bright, shiny, perfect faces. And then you see the stories and documentaries come out of their life just in shambles and like how everything just came crashing down. Like those are extreme levels of masking, but we put people on pedestals, and that's a slippery slope because we're like, they must have this perfect life. And like, they're putting all these like perfect things, or their family's perfect. And that's a very interesting social study for me to kind of look at, because what it really does is force us to look at like, where are we faking it in our lives?
I think along those lines, it's where people start to over-identify with their mask, like the influencer. And then now I've got, 20K followers. I have to continue that because that's what these people expect from me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, and how about when it cracks? How about when you've been inauthentic for so long that you have a fucking mental breakdown?
And that will happen. That's
happened to me. That happened to me in grad school. I had a full mental breakdown. And it was interesting because my mask was like the lie of being perfect. So I'd be at work and I'd get awards like Employee of the Month or this or that. And I was like, they're going to find out I'm really not that good. They're going to find out I'm not really that smart. They're going to find out I'm not perfect. They're going to find out I'm fucked up. Like, it was that anxiety. And I remember fully cracking, like having a full like meltdown, like a nervous breakdown, like a real crack. And I remember my therapist saying, if you don't want to be suicidal, then you need to stop faking it. And I was like, oh, Dr. Steinberger, really? And he was like, yes. You need to start with the grocery store clerk when they said, how are you? And you say, I'm a little off color. I'm not doing that good. He said, you don't need to vomit all over.
Right. You need to share your whole story.
You need to stop. He said, your face and your body don't match. And I remember being like, holy shit, and calling me out. Why are you smiling when you're sharing this horrific trauma? Wow. And he didn't say it like that because he was kind, but basically that was the call out. And there was a lot of that calling out. And so my goal in therapy was to be who you are, wherever you go. And so obviously we mask when we need to feel safe. We'll do some of those things, but I try my hardest to be who I am and to just accept that I'm growing. I'm not perfect. I can change my mind. How I am today may not be how I was 10 years from now. It may not be how I am in the future. Like, to really give yourself grace, but to recognize if you're masking, most likely there is a wound. There is some ouch that happened. And then we get to decide, do I want to carry on with this mask of being polite or abandoning myself or whatever? Or do I want to maybe loosen that a little bit and throw some bravery in it? And listen, I say either is okay as long as we're aware. That's my belief. As long as you're aware of what you're doing, if your life is at risk and someone's like, I'm going to kill you if you don't agree with me, you're going to mask and be like, I totally agree with you because I don't want to die.
Right. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Just know why you're doing what you're doing, right?
So I'm curious, how if we can do this maybe quick, like how do we recognize when we have a mask on, Chelsea? Like for people listening.
I say stress. I say when your face isn't matching your body. So if I'm crying, I'm trying to smile my way through it, then I know that that's a mask. I would say we generally feel exhausted and depleted when we're wearing a mask. And then for me, I get neuroses. Like I get almost like I'm going to get caught. They're going to find out I'm not as good. They're going to find out that there's something wrong with me. Like I almost feel like that. And then I also personally, I get like shame, like this shame of like, what's wrong with me? And that used to be something I would say all the time. Like, I'd be authentic and I'd be like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? Why would you do that? And now 47 years of life and fuck ton of therapy and lots of helpers. It's like, what's wrong with you? Maybe that's just how you are. Like going full circle, Rebecca. Like maybe your body is just the shape that it is because that's who it is. Maybe my personality, I do weird shit sometimes that other people think is weird. That's absolutely normal for me. So that's my thought.
Well, I was just going to say we can kind of end with this as when you were referencing your masks when you were younger too. And I think this really does come with a lot of time and practice and just age and wisdom. But I remember, and the theme still lingers, I have to be very careful of it, is people pleasing, not wanting to get in trouble. That's my mask.
Oh my God, Joy. Twins. Same.
I'm like the rule follower. I mean, we joke about it here, but really it runs deep. It's like that Catholic guilt. And so I'm like,
it is.
Ooh, anytime there's kind of like something that I'm going to get in trouble for, or whatever it is, I can't even play practical jokes on people because I just can't handle someone thinking that like for 5 seconds, there's like, a scary monster coming around the corner. I mean, I have like a visceral reaction to anything related to like getting in trouble and not following the rules. So that is something where I can feel it in my body, even at work. Like just last week, something came up where I was like, oh my gosh, did I do that right? Am I going to get in trouble? Humans just make silly mistakes. It's a human mistake, but I for a beat was like, okay, do I need to like explain myself out of this? And then I was like, no, you can just say what happened because like this is just a silly mistake that everyone makes. And so I think like that recognizing like you're not going to get in trouble. You're fucking 48 years old. Like you're not 12, like going to get in trouble for like, you know what I mean? For whatever it was.
Yeah.
So really, really great conversation. And I'd love to hear from listeners if this was helpful for you, if you want us to expand on anything, because we really kind of covered a lot around masking, but it comes up so often, so many ways in our lives. Next week, we're going to talk about, next week is going to put us into November. So we're going to talk about gratitude and maybe gratitude for the lessons we've learned, whether it be lifetime or maybe this year.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be talking about next week. And then as always, you can reach us at Laugh Cry Club on Instagram. We are killing it on TikTok now. Just an FYI, Laugh Cry Club podcast.
And talk about no mask on TikTok.
None.
We're not doing any mask, okay? We're just
showing
it's like the therapist gone live.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said gone live instead of therapist gone wild, because that reminds me of like those videos from like the 90s, late night videos, like Girls Gone Wild
Girls
on the
Gone
beach
Wild.
that you would get.
I mean, that would be hilarious, but I'm just going to say we're just going live.
We're going live.
We're
on
in.
the TikTok.
We
We
are.
are
We've
so we're
committed.
having a ball with it. So we just kind of like dove right in. So find us there, follow us, support us there. We are on email, laughcryclub@gmail.com. If you would like, we're on email. If you want to send us
We're
a
on the
message,
email.
we're on the emails, guys.
We're also on the Instagram and the Facebook, Gen Xers. Is that how we say it? I remember my mom once being like, "Are you on the pot?
Are you on
like
the
like drugs?"
Facebook? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought she meant like on the toilet.
No, she meant I was smoking too much pot when I was a kid, and was
that's
like, "Are
hard.
you on the pot?" Like it was the, and I remember now, like that's a joke with my like. I'm on the grief cry train. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on like you add the and it makes
It makes
I'm
everything sound
digressing.
great.
It makes it hilarious, in my opinion.
So we are on the socials. Thank you so much for supporting us. And if you would like to support us, the best way to do it is to leave a rating and review wherever you listen and share it with a friend. We will see you next week. Love you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
That's life, baby.